Hi, I'm Nathan Oakley and this is video log number 53. This video log is going to be about psychopaths. The danger being that by talking about psychopaths, people will start throwing this term around, and there's no real way of determining if somebody's a psychopath just by looking at them. The real way of determining if somebody is a psychopath is to put them under an MFRI scan and present them with images like a kitten, which for us would release certain chemicals in our brain, which can be monitored, and then showing them a dog being stomped on, which again would provoke a reaction in a normal person. For a psychopath, it's very different. Psychopaths have no empathy. They can't relate to the dog being stomped on. Same if it gets even more violent. You could step it up to somebody being decapitated, followed by a field of freshly cut grass, and the reaction from a psychopath would be no different. For us, it would be very different for both of those two things. So it's not fair to label anybody a psychopath. Yes, you can say that people's behaviour is psychotic. You can say people are mad because people won't take you literally. But labelling somebody, as I recently was labelled, a psychopath is a very dangerous game to get into. And it's the reason I was cautious about approaching psychopathy in the FE arena. In my view, and I've asked a few people about this, psychopaths run the world. And if there's a reason for our world being changed in terms of its shape, in other words, if there's a reason for the globe lie, that reason is most definitely psychopaths. And I don't want people in the flat earth community to start labelling people with this rather horrible term. Now, the term itself has been dissected up into loads of different subcategories, and frankly, I haven't got enough knowledge on psychopathy to do a really outstanding job of explaining this. There's several people on YouTube who do a really cracking job of explaining psychopathy, and Thomas Sheridan, who I've mentioned in several of my other video logs, is, in my humble opinion, by far the best possible source of this information. So I will put a link to Thomas Sheridan's channel, as I've done in several other my video logs, and I highly encourage everybody to sort of listen to his work and get an idea of who's running the show, because that's really all it's about, sort of getting to the root of the lie. The trouble is, when you get to the root and you find out that there's things like duper's delight involved, you kind of lose a little bit of faith in humanity, and we shouldn't. You know, we're picking apart these lies as they get bigger and more complex, and we can only, unite rather than sort of despair about the psychopaths who do run our show. Now, when you hopefully go and have a look at Thomas Sheridan's channel, you'll see he discusses things like gaslighting and crazy making. Now, the term gaslight is from a good example is a movie called Gaslight, in which the psychopath will literally adjust the lighting. He'll pretend that he's left the house only to devastate the person who's living there by making them think that there's somebody in the house when there isn't. But there is, it's just him adjusting the lighting without her knowing. And that's a sort of typical psychopath behaviour. The other is something called love bombing. When we experience love, we are literally undergoing a chemical release in our brains. And psychopaths use this to their advantage. They can shower you with affection and gifts and attention, stuff that you like. And when you're at a peak and you've got a need for this attention, that's normally the point that a psychopath will try to starve you of it. In other words, cut you off at the knees and no longer provide you with any of that. And to get a reaction. Again, I'm not doing the best job of this. I'm no expert in psychopaths, but having been branded one, it's nice to actually have a little opportunity to talk about them again, because it's a subject that fascinates me, especially as I say, the globe lie has come from psychopaths, purely for the reason, in my humble view, of duping us for their own pleasure, and that's wrapped up in a load of wicked lies. Again, in the comments, if you feel that this is completely incorrect and there's a far more deep and sinister and complex reason to lying to us, then I'm all ears, because as far as I can tell, it's just for the fun of it. There's no real reason as far as I can tell. Now, that's not to say that I'm right and it is just for the fun of it. There might be a very very dark and sinister reason for why we've been told the Earth is a globe when it is in fact flat. But I don't think so. I think it's at least the lie itself is poked at us just to laugh at us. That might not necessarily correlate that it means that that's the reason behind the lie, but like I say, I can see no reason. So yeah, psychopaths, please don't label everybody a psychopath. Just because somebody's a dick doesn't mean that they're a psychopath, it just means that they're a dick. I'm often a dick, doesn't mean I'm a psychopath. Anyway, I've been Nathan Oakley, the world is flat, and I'll see you in the next video.